I know I mentioned on Monday night's video that that would be the only video on this heat wave, but nature apparently had other plans for this heat wave than what we all thought would happen. So this will be discussing those changes, with heat now being expected for longer, possibly more significant heat than we experienced yesterday, on aka on Tuesday. Also, because I've noticed some microclimate things have kicked in, specifically in Corvallis and McMinville, I thought I would also explain that, because it may keep the high temperatures down a couple of degrees, but more importantly, those areas will cool off faster than other areas. Corvallis is affected more than McMinville. When I say McMinville, I just mean the Yamhill River Valley. McMinville is just the biggest city in that area. So the watches and warnings updates. The only changes in the watches and warnings that's been issued is a dense fog advisory on the coast proper, although land areas are not included. Anywhere just barely off the shore and the Columbia River estuary is included. Also, the heat advisory and excessive heat warning has been extended to Saturday at 9 p.m. in regards to this lengthened heat wave from what was previously anticipated. There is an air quality alert for certain areas in the Willamette Valley. However, that's mainly limited to the urban areas that can't really cycle out the ozone that cars produce due to the lack of wind from this heat wave in like Portland, Salem, Eugene. It does not apply to outlying areas necessarily. Your air quality is still good, at the very worst, moderate. So setup, not pretty much nothing has changed, with the exception of the high pressure system is essentially just decided to park itself rather than originally moving on like originally anticipated. The only difference is this is going to move slightly further east, and when it does so, all the smoke that did come up, it's barely noticeable, but there is some in the upper atmosphere, none down the lower atmosphere. That will all cycle out. Most of the smoke that I've noticed from images in the higher atmospheres from about Salem south, with some up in the Portland area, that should all cycle out by tomorrow evening, which means Friday and Saturday, everywhere gets the full brunt of the sun, unless if you trigger one of those microclimate unique features that I will be going over later in the video. So to discuss the changes in a little bit more detail, and I'll go over this again during the 7-day forecast, the threat of 100 degrees plus has been extended to Saturday in all areas, not just Portland. Tomorrow is, of course, last day of the minor overhead smoke to escape. Highs, I'm nearing the focus of the coast, instead of 55 to 80, anywhere from about 60 to 75, mainly because of what's called the sea breeze that is occurring at the coast, and also the fog is preventing temperatures from dropping far below 60 at night, and the temperature difference from high to low really isn't that much at the coast under this setup. So at the coast proper, if you go a little in like Tillamook, Astoria, it gets a little bit higher, so that's where the 75 comes from, but I don't really see it getting much warmer than that. High still at 80 to 90 degrees at about 4,000 feet in the Cascades. Hotter as you go down below, colder as you go up higher. Now, to update this unusual slide from Monday, it's now starting to look a little unusual. I wouldn't necessarily go as far as saying historic like last year. This technically would go into the top 10 warmest days at the Portland airport in the month of July. The way the National Weather Service records this is it takes the most recent days and as the top spots, and then as days at the same temperature go above that, it overtakes it. So there are more days that have recorded 103 in July that are not on this list, that are just tied for 9th, but it's still tied for 9th, so it would be in the top 10. That's if we hit 103. Spoiler, I do have a 103 in the forecast. However, in terms of daily records, the today, or should I say tomorrow, I guess that's depending on when you watch this, Friday and Saturday align with the 3 warmest days that the Portland airport has experienced in July. So I still do not anticipate any more daily records. We did hit one yesterday, and it was 102 degrees for the high. The old daily record was 100. The expected length of 95 degrees or higher high temperatures is now expected to break the longest the Portland airport has experienced. The current record is 6, I believe. I am expecting 7 in this 7-day forecast, and I just decided, you know what, let's look at the climate trend adjusted. Yeah, it would still break the record even if this occurred in the late 1800s. So this is that's probably the only historic part of this, and even then that's a little bit of a stretch because it doesn't look to be breaking any 100-degree plus streaks, which that I would call more historic. Also, this is just as a side note, this is the warmest time of the year. Between today and August 17th, which is exactly 3 weeks, only 3 daily records have been below 102 degrees, and only 1 has been below 100. So in other words, about 15% of the records are below 102 degrees. Just a very warm time overall. So yeah, it's almost to be expected that it's so hot right now. Also, as a note, right after August 17th, the odds of 100-degree plus goes down significantly. So that's kind of when the peak of summer ends for Western Oregon here. So the West Valley, I'll call it the onshore flow microclimates. I don't really have a good name for this. If anyone has a better name, please leave in the comment section. This is mainly caused by onshore, aka westerly winds that blow through the river valleys when temperatures get too warm in the coast range, which creates a sea breeze. The temperatures in the Willamette Valley, I do not believe have anything to do with this because they cannot influence the coastal temperatures in any way unless if there is offshore flow, aka easterly winds, which we do not have. So the breeze primarily is from about 4 to 11 p.m. during the heat waves, at least that's what it's been the last couple of days. It tends not to go far in the Willamette Valley, extending only about 5 to 10 miles. Isolated cases to 15 if it's really strong like it was today. Generally, this is localized near the South Yamhill River and the Marys River Basin, and this is just because right after you get a little bit further away from the coast range, you lose the wind funnel through the coast range, and the winds are kind of the greatest as you're entering that funnel and leaving that funnel, and then it goes to near zero afterwards. Winds generally are around 15 miles per hour in these areas, gusting to 25 mile per hour. 10-degree drop in temperature in an hour is not uncommon. Then I did mark on Google Maps here the river basins, and in these 2 areas, up north is the South Yamhill River, and down south is the Marys River Basin. This is quick and dirty mock-ups, so not to scale. There might be some slight errors, although I did try to get as close to accurate as I could. The 2 river basins pretty much almost touch, and the passes that you have to get over to get to the other river basin are less than 1,000 feet. So very small, even by coast range standards, which is why these areas tend to get a little bit more of the temperature drops earlier than later. Other than that, the rest of my heat advice I gave on Monday, or you can go back to what I called the mother of all heat waves videos from last June for other heat advice. But now on to the 7-day forecast. So for Portland, I am keeping Portland out of the triple digits tomorrow, but getting pretty close at 99 degrees. I think there's just enough smoke to keep Portland out, but barely. I think it's probably a 50-50 shot whether Portland gets to 100 or not. Just, I'll be honest, I'm going with my gut and saying it's not going to be 100. Friday, I'm going 103 degrees, cooling off a little bit on Saturday, but still staying in the low 100 degrees. Sunday, mid-90s before starting to cool off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays with highs actually going a little bit below normal. If it makes you feel any better with the heat. I did check for fun before recording this, the local TV meteorologist in the National Weather Service, and I am a little bit more aggressive on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So secretly, I hope I'm wrong and they're right, because personally, I don't like the heat, and I know many people here don't either. Lows anywhere from 65 to 70 during the peak heat wave in the urban core, a little bit closer to 60 in the outlying areas. Now for Corvallis, microclimate adjusted, so most of these highs will be about an hour earlier than what Portland would experience, because that's when the sea breeze kicks in, a little bit before that peak heating would happen this time of year, right about at 5 to 5:30. I'm having 97 for tomorrow in Corvallis before going up to 100 degrees Friday and Saturday, and then cooling off on Sunday into the lower 90s, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the low to mid 80s. Lows are much more reasonable, around 60 degrees for the peak heat wave, and then dropping to the mid 50s afterwards. For those who do not live in Corvallis proper but may live in like Albany, Lebanon, Eugene, you could probably add about 2 degrees to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to get rid of the microclimate effect that Corvallis has, because that's about what the effect is that I have noticed these last couple of days with the high temperatures. Otherwise, this is longer than I intended it turning out, but the current time is 10:27, and I do not want to record another take of this. And also, I've taken way too many midterms today, so yeah, I'm just gonna call it good there, because of the anticipated change and Friday now being considered the warmest day. I will come out with another video tomorrow. I will have a lot more time to make a video, though it will be shorter. And then Friday's up in the air whether I make a video or not. I'd probably say right now it's more likely than not, if everything stays status quo. If things change and we're suddenly looking at Sunday being 100, I'll make a video Friday. No matter what, though, I will not make a video Saturday and Sunday. Otherwise, that's it, and please take care.